news from Newsweek. Largest mass resignation in U.S. history as 100,000 federal workers quit.
Got what I voted for award.
Yeah, you see the Austin Peterson meme he posted of Donald Duck with the heart on saying, got what I voted for again award? And he's wearing a MAGA hat.
I want my medals.
Oh, no.
Not enough. I demand more.
Oh, no.
Yeah, some 100,000 federal workers are set to formally quit the U.S. government in what will constitute the largest mass resignation of government workers in U.S. history. The resignations, which come as part of the program drawn up by President Donald Trump at the start of his second administration, will happen on Tuesday as Congress is facing a deadline on the same day to authorize more funding or risk government shutdown. If there is no deal, the White House has ordered federal agencies to make plans for the large-scale redundancies. I love this, though. They're like, why it matters. The loss of federal workers will have a huge impacts on operations across different parts of government and could disrupt services, including the Department of Veterans Affairs and the Social Security Administration. No, hold on. Why did they bring up those two departments? Because they are attacking boomers intentionally, who they think won't look into this and aren't paying attention. The 100,000 workers will disrupt everything. So why is Newsweek specifically highlighting SSA and the VA? They want boomers who are dependent on these things to be angry at Donald Trump, which explains why, when I think it was Real Clear Politics put out their age support for Trump by age, the only age bracket that was anti-Trump was 70 plus.
Super boomers.
Super boomers. Every other age bracket was pro-Trump, except for, I think, 40-year-olds who were neutral. This is why they do it. I don't think it's going to work out for them very well because, and I mean this with all due respect to boomers, I don't want to be crass and crude when I say this, but they're at what's called the mortality shelf, the mortality cliff. Oldest boomers are now 79 years old. That's mortality. So what is being predicted now is within the next 5 years, we'll see something like 40 to 60% of boomers leave, in a manner of speaking, die. So this mainstream media attempt at pandering to the super boomers, as Jack described them, it's not going to play out for much longer. And what we're seeing now with Gen Z, and this does tie back into what we're seeing with the violence in the streets, TPUSA rallying young people, showing them the right path. I think the future of this country is moving in the right direction.
Which, by the way, I don't know if you want to pull it up, but like Bricksuit is at the Utah event right now, and he's posting videos from inside. It is packed to the rafters. It is a sea of patriots. People are cheering. People are chanting. Students and it looks like people from off campus. You know,
we're back.
No step back. No surrender.
Is this it right here?
That's it right there.
And they called in they planted a hoax device to try and shut the event down.
Yeah, no, that's what it's all about. No step back, no surrender.
This is what libs just don't realize is we have the secret sauce. We have patriots who will be like, they will save this country kicking and screaming. It's the secret sauce. They don't realize you can't demoralize this demographic.
No, we actually literally do love God and country, and we actually are willing to fight for it. Yeah. And the more of this that you do, the more events we're going to do, the more deployments we're going to do into races. Like, by the way, New Jersey, super tight race. You know, people are talking about getting in there. Scott Pressler, Cliff Maloney, myself, etc. You know, you've got this wave of positive energy that is going to completely sweep the nation. I know you saw what Benny Johnson was doing up there at Penn State.
Oh yeah.
Nicole Shanahan's talking about doing a huge rally out in California to get a voter ID on the ballot. I mean, people are taking the horrible thing and truly horrible thing that happened to Charlie and saying, how do I get active? The ESPN host just said he might step down and run for Senate. He's like never even been political.
Who's Stephen Smith? Or you're not talking about him, are you?
No, in Alabama. And you know, and it just saying that, and specifically cited the inspiration, Paul Feinbaum. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he said, look, you know, them taking out Charlie made me step up and realize that maybe there's some things that are more important that I've been putting off. And to walk away from something like that is just amazing. Well, and that's what's happening right now.
Just to go back to this story, the real question I have for you guys, I suppose, is what do you think the ramifications of 100,000 federal workers quitting is going to be?
Well, nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. We need more. We need to increase those numbers. There's 2.4 million government employees.
It's a drop in the pan.
That's nothing, right? So that's way too much employees. Fire as many of them as you can. Please start at the Federal Reserve. Start cutting at the CIA. They're not doing anything good for us.
The H-1B processors, just get rid of all of them.
I will say, if you go on Zillow in Northern Virginia right now, it looks like the rapture happened. Like there's so many houses for sale. It's beautiful right now.
Yeah, it's like self-selection, right? Sometimes the doors that you need to close for people, they just close on themselves and say, look, I'm out. And it's like, okay, thank you for self-selecting. It makes it easier.
Yeah, Hegseth was saying this earlier. He said, if you don't like what I'm saying, then I expect you to resign, and we will say thank you for your service. I was like, yeah, fire them all.
I liked when Trump walked out. That clip you're playing earlier where
we'll play that one in a second. But
wow. where they all kind of realized that, hey, wait a minute. As it turns out, the American people made their voices heard. And Charlie Kirk was a huge part of that in the swing states, and the deployments that came out, the trainings that were done from Turning Point Action, going to youth, going to those low propensity voters, figuring out, and Tyler Boyer, of course, figuring out the formula to say, how do we go to people who have never voted before and get them interested in politics? And if we do that, that's different than saying, oh, we're getting a guy who's voted for Trump before. We're going to get someone who's never voted. And so when you look at it in terms of political mathematics, that's all profit. That's all net gain. So how do we go to particularly young men, young women as well, but particularly young men? Charlie understood that that's who he identified as that leading edge. And you've seen it in poll after poll, young Gen Z men breaking for Trump, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and then of course right here in Arizona as well. And you can see the efforts play out because Arizona had the biggest swing from 2020 to 2024, and that's because of Charlie Kirk and Turning Point.
Yeah, I mean that's with young men. What Kirk did was he just reminded young men of who they are. Like, you're an American, remember who you are. And that has a huge effect. I mean, obviously, it's a secret sauce. Young Patriots.
when you get like the high school football captain married to the beauty queen, and and shout out to Erica, Time 100, just dropped today, and it's like actually we can just be better than them, as it turns out.
You can just get them interested in politics. It's a very low bar. They're not that interested. So you just get them. What on earth?
Wait, I just pulled up the meme reference that Tate was making.
So true.
That's awesome. So true.
Literally us Zoomer patriots.
I mean, this meme is really funny. For those just listening, it's a T-Rex emerging from the clouds telling a chicken, remember who you are. But there's some truth to it. Could you imagine what the founding fathers would say to us today, looking at this country, being like, no, this is all wrong. What is going on?
They were having a heart attack. They were like, what? Do you guys have an IRS? You guys have an ATF? What? Like, they would be...
Your armies are deployed where?
Yeah, all over the globe. What? How many
the Ottomans? What do you worry about the Ottomans
You're going to be bombing Iran again? Come on. Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, come on. Those guys have flip-flops. Like, they're not a threat. All right?
Those guys have flip-flops.
What made Charlie so powerful is his ability to speak into the heart and soul of people being able to tap into ethics, morals, and have them self-governing, so that their convictions weren't just on a news cycle. It was something much deeper than that. And that's why these spiritual practices that he had were so powerful. And so you go back and you look at all these nuances, what made him the man that he was and is today. And it was all about deep personal devotion to God that makes you immovable when it comes to things pertaining to the conscience and morality, to hold to things like the 10 Commandments, which the Sabbath was so important to Charlie.
Yeah.
And I find that really inspirational.
Yeah, so it used to be that Charlie was always very accessible by phone. He was a texting addict. I asked him once, I said, how many texts do you send a day? Because when I'd spend time with him, he's just constantly, right? Just like Tim right now. And and he would say probably about 1,000. Wow. He just said probably about 1,000. And except on Saturdays. So if you wanted to get hold of Charlie on a Saturday, you would have to go to Erica, and that's only emergencies only. And we rarely would ever do that, but he would take Saturday off of his phone, and it would be pretty much Friday night into Saturday night, Sunday morning. There was no phone, and he would unplug, and it was all family time or reading or being with the Bible. And it just kind of hit me that on this past Saturday that I was thinking like, oh, I got to text Charlie this thing, and I was like, oh wait, it's Saturdays because my normal routine kicked in, so it's Saturday, so I can't text him. But then it kicked in again that every day is Saturday now.
Wow. Oh, that's so beautiful. The book that is set to drop December 9th, Stop, and In the Name of God, right? So this is Charlie's book. You guys probably could tell me more in terms of the release, but...
Yeah, so he's writing a book about this.
Yeah.
Or had written a book about this.
Yeah. Stop in the Name of God, Why Honoring the Sabbath Will Transform Your Life. And this, if you look at the historical relevance of this, it was everything to do with people having deep devotion to God. And it was the underpinning, like, because what did Charlie stand for? The utmost morality. He was trying his very best to be moral in all categories, defending life, and then speaking about sexual impurity, debating the OnlyFans girls, or all these different things that were so important. And the underpinning of them that you look at the 10 Commandments, the Sabbath is the one that acknowledges God as the source of all things and says, remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. 6 days shall you labor and do all of your work, but the seventh day, the Sabbath of the Lord your God, in it you shall do no work. And that devotion gave people historically strength to withstand all types of oppression and persecution. Millions of people gave their lives because they were unwilling to surrender this day of worship because it was their allegiance to God, and it was for Charlie. And I think that that's something that people can really think about because it will cement morals and values so deeply in people that they will not be willing to let this country turn to trash.
Amen.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.